everybody, it's your man Tyke coming to you with another true spook story. Now, before I begin, I'm going to ask that you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share me if you're thinking not robbery. One more thing, good people. I've been experiencing a couple negative comments on the page. I love them. I love all comments. So if you have any comments, negative or positive, throw them motherfuckers up here. It let me know just who I'm working with, and I'm glad you guys are being entertained by the stories. And these are true stories. So, for better or worse, good or bad, I really would appreciate a comment. No shade, no shame, no hate. Just let me know you're thinking about me. All right. Without further ado, this story is going to take place between two counties to the majority, uh, Groveland, Groveland, Orlando, Apopka. So basically, the majority of the St. John's River where it flows. Now, this story is going to have some racial condensation to it. Granted, I'm not saying this story is to go against anybody of a different race. I'm just stating historical facts because this is something that I did experience and it relates. So, I mean, buckle up, people. I want to make it fun and I hope you guys find some real enjoyment out of it. But these are true events and this is what really happened to me. All right, without further ado. So, this is the time I had to be about, I'm gonna say about my early 20s. I can't really pinpoint it. I don't know if it was 20, I was 21, 22, but I was dating this girl, which y'all probably had heard me talk about in the past, by the name of Meat. I'm just gonna call her Meat, Meat. Well, so me and Meat was dating, doing our thing. So me being an adult and she being an adult, let me tell you about Meat Mama. So Meat Mama was a notorious, gambler, pool hustler. She did all that shit. She knew the streets very well because she was from Ivy Lane. She was from Malibu. She was from that place. And Meat Mama, we'll just call her Annie. So Meat Mama Annie was always into the hustle game. She was always into the hustle game. She had 6 sons and 3 daughters. No, yeah, 6 sons and 3 daughters. And she was always looking for a way to come up. But this was the better them kids' lives. And I get it, mama gonna do what she gotta do. But she was always in that pool hall hustling. So her kids grew up pretty savage and wrong, if you ask me. Well, so without going into her business, because I got a true story about that family too, but that'll be a later date. So Meat Mama, Annie, ended up liking this white dude by the name of John. Now, John was a very well-off dude. He was a electrician. He was a submarine engineer, one of them type of cats. He was always fixing on submarines, always, fixing on Navy yards and shipyards. I think he was kind of like a welder or something. But anyway, he was like an engineer fixing them, designing them, and things like that. So he had an affinity for, black women. And Meat Mama Annie, she wasn't your old lady, but she wasn't no slouch. Now, this lady was right to be her age. But she got around. She got around in the pool halls and the bars and the back holes and the juke joints and shit. So, she had a reputation. So one day, old Jim come scrolling his ass up in on his Harley, and he see Annie sitting over there looking good. And James said, I'm going to refer to him as Jimmy and James, y'all, because it's either or. So Jimmy, he hollered out to her. At this time, me and Meat at the bar with us, I think, we was over there off of, over there by Mitchell's funeral home, by the Central Florida Fairground off Mercy Drive, Fairvilla Avenue. So we was in American Legion. So we was in American Legion, getting it down, dancing, having a couple drinks. So he scrolled his ass up and he see Miss Annie over there looking thick as fuck, red skin, cute for an old head. So, white boy Jimmy got at her. Now, here's a little backstory on white boy Jimmy. Now, white boy Jimmy, he had been married to his wife for a long time, but his wife was kind of controlling and kind of jealous, and she kind of pushed him, wouldn't let him ride his bike. So, and she always used to refer to him as a nigga lover and shit, cause she came from a pretty racist family, and he was always cool with black folk, you know, affinity wise, he started liking the sister. So Jimmy wife used to call him out his name and shit. And he used to always say he loved going to the St. John River and going to fishing. He had a fishing buddy down there by the name of Bubble, aka Ink Dot. That's what they call him, these racial terms. So he had a friend that used to always go down there and fish, and they called him Ink Dot. So he said one day his wife came down there and saw him fishing with Ink Dot, drinking a couple beers, and both of them had motorcycles. So the wife got upset and was like, "Here you go, fucking with them niggas again." And he say, "Oh bitch, I just hope you die." And this is his story, first hand account. He said he kept telling that hoe, and his words, first hand account now, y'all. He said I kept telling the hoe and the bitch to, she just should drown in the lake, that she should die, that I hope the St. John River take her. And say it went on for, 3-4 years. He was always going down there, so periodically hanging out with his homeboy, Ink Dot. And say one day, him and Ink Dot decided to haul ass. Say, man, let's cut the fishing trip short. Let's go ahead and go to the bar and let me take you to the American Legion, and you can party and say you can put on some of my clothes, cause they had been fishing. So Jimmy say he went to the American Legion. That's when he fell in love with juke joint music. He fell in love with soul music. He was dancing. Say the women and all the black girls in there and the black dudes that showed him love, treated him good. So he said he felt he had a new family, but then he had to go back home. So Jimmy said one day he and his wife went out there to go fishing, because she was like, "Why you never take me fishing? You could come hang out with me instead of hanging out with that nigga. I learned to fish. So he said, "Come on then, let's go fish." So he said he took her fishing, and say they got into an argument at the fishing hole. So then, if I'm not mistaken, he said his wife started baiting the water. And here in the South, what we call baiting the water, you take grits or you take cat food, and they call it chumming in the ocean. But you throw the grits and the cat food and oatmeal, whatever, in the water, so the fish should come out there and start eating it. Then you can just drop your line in that bitch and boom, you got them. So he says she just start over filling the water with food and baiting that bitch and chumming it. And he say, "Don't do that. You're gonna wake up the monster." So she kept thinking, okay, he just joking, talking shit, this, that, another, whoop, whoop. So he say, "Well, I'm not gonna be here when that monster get here." And she just kept on fucking with him, laughing, taking a stick, slapping the water. He say as he went to take all the stuff back to the truck that he was driving, because he didn't drive his bike though, he said that he walked out of the fishing hole, came back to the fishing hole, and say the wife wasn't there no more. So this shit made news, missing wife. So they thought, old Jim drowned this old lady in the St. John River. But Jim told him, a sea monster got her. Say the St. John River monster got her. Y'all keep in mind now, y'all can Google this shit. So days passed, months passed, they vetted the man, they found out he didn't do nothing. So Jim's wife just a missing person. Now let's fast back over here to Annie. So now Jim is fucking around with Annie. Jim had a house. He was kind of short on his mortgage. So he told Annie, "Hey man, how about you come live with me? We can start some shit new." Now Annie didn't love him, but she was a hustler, people, and I gotta do anything to secure a better life for my son, my daughters, and all that stuff there. So she said, "Cool." So she got me and her son to pack up her house, and we drove out there off Dean Road here in Orlando, East Colonial and Dean area. and we moved in the house. Now I still had my own spot, so I was just out there just to knock off, meet every now and then, and they let us sleep in the same room because we were grown. Because he was like, I got a grown daughter, she in college, so y'all could, sleep and fuck off in her room. Cool, you all right with me? So that shit lasted about good 2, 3 months. Everything was fine. Everybody going half is on the bill. So one day I'm over there. It's nighttime. It's raining, people, and Jimbo said, "Hey, Tyke, come on, get on the back of the bike. Let's go driving." I say, "Shit, what the fuck, whatever." I'd already laid cocky no girl so long. Now I'm bored. There's only so much Thundercats you can watch. And I said, "Yeah, let's ride, man." So he gave me a helmet, gave me one of his old leather coats. I threw the bitch on, it swallowed me. So, we get on the bike and we, vroom, he racing like a bat out of hell. All of a sudden it's starting to rain. He say, "Don't let this is the best feeling when the rain touch your face. Oh my God, it's a beautiful feeling. This is what free is." He just yelling and yelling and yelling, and I could barely hear him because the rain beating on my ass, and it felt like a bitch hitting us with rocks. That rain was coming down so hard. So we got to this bridge off of Colonial, where the St. John River flows under it. So he stops and he takes me. He stops and he like pull over to the left hand side. Yeah, because we had to cross over. He pull over on the left hand bank, and he's just sitting out there smoking a cigarette because the rain had broke, and he's just enjoying his cigarettes and stuff like that. And I'm watching out for cars because this motherfucker done parked a motorcycle on the side of the road, and bitch, you doing 60 or 70 back in them days. They didn't know 45 bullshit speed limit here. You on Colonial, bitch, you rolling. So I'm sitting up there and he just automatically start telling me the story about his wife. And I kid you not, people, he thumped his cigarette butt into the St. John River over the bridge. So, he turned his back a little bit because you could tell he was tearing up that he had lost his wife. So, I went to look over. I'm a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed young man. I ain't never been on no motorcycle like that. So I look over the bank to see the cigarette fall. And as I see the cigarette fall, it kind of, I don't know how the light illuminated, but the light illuminated a little bit, illuminated the dark ass water a little bit. So I happened to see like a long snake looking like a tadpole, had a big old fat head with a snake body, tadpole looking shit, and then the cigarette. Psh. So I say, "Hey Jimbo," I say, "I think it's a sunken submarine in this bitch." He said, "It don't get deep enough for a submarine." I say, "Well, there's something kind of light, like a tadpole, like directly under us." And Jimbo went white as fuck, man. So he said, "What?" So he goes over there and he does this thing with his hands where he always he take both his hand and push back his hair with both his hands and his thumbs out. Like, I wish I could describe it, but that was his signature move. Like, bitch, let me get ready to bust your ass up. You know how some white folks, when they get ready to fuck you up, they'll slang their head back and get the hair out their face. But that was his signature rock star move. So he does this, he flicks his hair back with both his hands, and he goes over there and he looks over the side. Now, when he look over the side of this water, this motherfucker turned white as white can be. He was already a white man. This motherfucker turned pale white, like a ghost. And he looks at me, and I look at him, and he tells me not to move. And I'm like, "Don't move." Now I'm pissed off and scared. "Don't move, bitch. What going on? What you know that I don't know?" Now he telling me the story about his wife. I had to put two and two together, people. So then he eased over there to me. He very much eased over there to me. I say, "You all right?" And he says, as he easing to me, he's keeping his eyes on the water, like he's looking down with that look on his face. And he grabs me by the shoulders with both hands and he turns me slowly. He said, "Don't make no sudden moves." And I mean, I'm like, the fuck, man? So he said, "Ease over there to the motorcycle." So he said, don't stomp on the road, don't do nothing. And all the while, he's still with his head tilted, leaning over on the side, looking down at the little monster thing, whatever it is in there. So I get to the motorcycle, and as I get to the motorcycle, there's this redneck truck there's a truck coming in, a bunch of rednecks, because we have to pass through Fort Christmas and shit. And here, Fort Christmas and Dean Road area, that's known as Redneckville. You don't ever want to get caught in Fort Christmas if you're a black man. One or two of them that survived there, but then they turn out to be black people that hate black people. You know what I'm saying? You get the picture. So I go to the motorcycle, and Jim is really afraid, and he's easing his way back. So as this truck full of rednecks come, they start chunking beer cans at me and Jim. They calling him a nigger lover. Keep in mind now, that's the same thing his wife called him before she disappeared, people. Oh, you nigger lover. What you doing with that boy on the back of that bike? He should be hanging from that bridge. I'm hearing all the nasty comments, man. It got rough, y'all. And he like, fuck you. And I'm like, man, why are you cursing out these 4-5 rednecks in this truck? Bitch, it's just a 20-year-old kid weighing 160 pounds total and an old man. Man, if you don't let them people go about their business, get that shit off their chest. So he like shoots some birds, and he takes out his firearm and he brandishes that bitch at him and like points it at him and shit. He points the little 38 too. God, it wasn't even an automatic, bitch. He just had 5 bullets. My God, man. So he points it at him and like, fuck off, you coon, you crackers, you. He was just saying all kind of racial shit. So then they pass, right, speed it up. So then we see them turn around. Their lights turn around. Now, the way the bridge was made, people, listen to me good here. Now, I can't make this shit up. The way the bridge was made, if you, like, pass by the bridge and you can, as soon as the concrete part of the bridge ends and it's back on water, and it's back on grass, you can park your car on the side of the road and kind of walk down the embankment to get under the bridge. So the white boys, they park their car not on the bridge, and they get a little change. You can hear the chains rattling. So he was like, come on, get on the back of the bike. Get on the back of the bike. So as we decide to get on the back, I'm getting on the back of the bike. And he was like, I think you should sit in the front. I say, no, man, come on, man. You the driver. I say, I don't know how to drive this bitch. I say, and I ain't sitting on your dick. You know, I'm saying all kind of shit that lighten the mood. So he sit down. I sit on the back. I wrap my hand around the waist. He give me his helmet in case they was to hit me in the back of the head. He wanted me to be protected as much as possible. Good dude, man. Telling good dude. Man, so one of them start pissing and laughing, and they walk down the riverbank. He said, don't worry, the monster gonna get him. The monster hate racist people. And I said, okay, that's funny. Now I'm thinking he joking. So by the time we get there, and by the time he crank up, because we had to get into traffic, all of a sudden we hear a lot of what whoop, because keep in mind it had started raining real hard, so you could barely hear the screams. What whoop it. So we looked back, and the truck was there, but we didn't see the 4 to 5 guys there. And he said, all right, they're lost cause. Don't worry about them right now. Let's go. Let's get out of here. It done woke up. So we get on the bike, and he hauls ass. And he was so savage, he picked up 2 of the beer cans that didn't bust. And he like, you want one? I'm like, fuck yeah. So we driving in the rain, and we finishing off the beer cans that they hit us with that didn't bust. So, we having fun with the shit. We survived. Me personally, I'm thinking, okay, the motherfucker slid down the riverbank because it was wet or something. The bridge bank isn't wet. So I get to his house. He explained to Annie what went on. And she looked at him like, She used to have this thing where she, no. She would like grit her bottom teeth and like, so I said, yeah, he ain't touch him. I said, they slipped and fell. He left him in there. So then I went to telling her about the kind of clear white tadpole looking shit that was under the bridge chilling right there. And she say, She, she used to do that. She spoke in like sounds, believe it or not, but you understood her when she was being slick. She's like, don't mention, don't mention it. So okay, so the next day, I'm going back home. It's daytime. It's raining. I say, all right, I gotta go back home. So she had her oldest boy drive me back to Orlando and shit. So I get to Orlando. So I go to grandma. I say, grandma, you ever heard about some sea monster in the St. John River when you were growing up and shit? She like, yeah, that bitch was known for killing racist folk. I say, that's true. I say, can't no sea monster in a river go after strictly racist people. I say the river ain't deep enough for that. She say, you don't know what's in that fucking river. She say, them white folks used to take us there and hang us and kill us and everything in that river. So it's only likely the monster got tired of eating us and we done took over that monster mine. I say, can we do that? Yeah, we can do it, because we nature people. Your great grandma and such were Indian, and she kept going on the raving rant. I said, okay, cool, got it. So now this is where the historical part come into play, people. Now, if you guys remember this thing called the Groveland Four, look it up. Uh, these four African American kids, 15 to 17, was accused of, sexually assaulting this Caucasian 17-year-old girl. What happened, I don't know. I don't know the details. So, the sheriff and the jailers and all them people, they had a trial quickly and they killed them boys. Well, they'll tell you, here we go now, people. They'll tell you that them boys was hung, burned, buried, all that shit there, you know, at the courthouse, at the jail, lynched and all that shit. But what they won't tell you, what my grandma told me, that they took them boys to the St. John River and they fed them boys to the sea monster. So they shot them in the head, killed them, did whatever they did to them, and they threw them in the St. John River. And alligator, sea monster, they gonna do what they gonna do is fresh meat, people. So grandma told me that them boys always wanted vengeance for what happened to them because they didn't touch that woman. Now, granted, these boys was exonerated, 50, 60 years later by Groveland. And their family was exonerated, but they was long dead. And it's a lot of racist shit that happened like that in Orlando, man, and Apopka and Winter Garden. And we could get into that shit, but this is about this one. So grandma was like, them boys so can't rest? And I say, grandma, so why they ain't hurting black people? Now keep in mind, there was an old man, Ink died. They used to go there and fish all the time with Jim. Now keep in mind, people, I'm tying this bitch together. You gonna understand what I'm saying. So I said, grandma, do you know an old man named Ink Dot? Black dude, he always fishing. He said, that was the surviving brother of the 15-year-old one. He can't get away from that lake. He can't get away from that motherfucker river. He always there. Say, you go there, he'll teach you how to fish. He just a nice dude. But he always there every day feeding that monster. I say, feeding the monster? I say, and y'all people know about this? He always feeding that monster. Hell, sometimes people will pull over on the side of the road, walk down there to the fishing hole and give him stuff to feed the monster as a blessing for him. I say, you got to be tripping, grandma. This is some shit that only happened in Ireland and shit, man, with the Loch Ness bullshit going on. She say, you think I'm lying? I say, I do. She said, get in the car. So we hop in the Buick, Take me to the spot where you seen it. People, here we go now. This where the bullshit come in at now, man. Boy, I wish we had smartphones back then. So I say, okay, this was the bridge. Now we drove a good hour and a half to get there. This the bridge. I say, the white people truck was right there that was throwing beer cans at us and shit. I say, and that's the bank you run down. She said, come on. Grandma walked down there with me. She still had on her housemaid shoes and, them white shoes that you clean up the housemaid in. She didn't give a fuck. She had to prove a point. So we go down there to the riverbank, slide down there. And lo and behold, guess who we see? I see Ink Dot. And he down there laughing and playing and just talking to himself or talking to the water, throwing food in the bitch, little meats and chickens and stuff. I say, man, I say, hello, sir, how are you? Grandma say, don't talk to him too long now, cause he crazy. He always here. Don't make friends with him, cause you'll like him, and who knows, you may disappear. And Grandma said this shit right in earshot of her, and he laughing. I ain't hurt nobody. That don't be me. That be the monster getting them. I just sit up here and feed the monster. He just so niggerish. So I say, man, I say, so guess what happened, Mr. Ink Dot? I say, I was out here with Jimbo. Jim. Oh, that's my dude. That's my man. I said, I was out here with Jimbo. And some white guys attacked us. I say, matter of fact, they truck still up there on the side of the road. I say, and we don't see them no more. And he kept saying stuff like, oh, you ain't got to worry about them. You ain't got to worry about them. And he just flinging, food into the water and shit like it ain't nothing, and just laughing and drinking his little bills. Or he just in his own zone. So Grandma say, nah, did my grandson happen to see that monster y'all motherfuckers feed? Now, what y'all doing bringing that bitch up? Keep in mind, Grandma say, what are y'all doing bringing that bitch up? Keep in mind, if you want to look to the true history, you got to go. One of them sheriffs back in the day fed them three boys to that sea monster. That's where they killed them at now, on the St. John River. They weren't killed in the courthouse and jailed. So, Grandma, what y'all keep bringing that bitch up for now? Did you know that thing ain't got no sense? And I could control it. We could control it. And he kept saying, I can control it. We can control it. He was talking symbiotic people. And she said, so what the fuck you doing with it? And he said, it did what it had to do. I say, you hate racist people. And them people were racist. And go on, get out of here. Y'all disturbing the energy. And she like, see that? So I'm like, okay, this shit real. So before I go, he say, what did it look like? What I say, it was kind of dark, but the light was still out, but it was raining real bad, and the water was hitting the water butt, so I could see the reflection when we dropped the cigarette butt down there with the light on it. And I say, it looked like a tadpole with a long old tail, but I ain't see no eyes or no mouth or nothing. He say, oh. He say, oh, he came close to the surface then. I wonder what he was waiting on. Cause he always say he always just come up smart and like look, he say he sent one of his tentacles out or one of his hands out and scoop up shit. He say, so he came all the way up. You almost had his whole body. I say, come on, man. I say, with depth perception, the Pythagorean theory, cause I'm an intelligent motherfucker, y'all. I say, looking at the content of the water, the reflection of the water, depth perception, the Pythagorean theory. I say that would put that monster, if you see look at his head coming out the water, and this is the size of a Buick, people. This is the size of a Volkswagen Beetle, just looking over the bridge, and he was still underwater. So if he was to come up to the surface, you're gonna multiply that times 5. So I'm like, well, he looked like the head was about the size of a beetle, and the tail was, about the size of a, boa constrictor, about the length of a football field, if I can make that sense. He said, oh, he came all the way up in the hill. Say he was waiting on somebody. He sent some shit. So now listen what he said. He sent some shit. So I left it alone. Grandma said, come on, let's get out of here. Now, as me and Grandmama was out there chilling, tell me why 2 water moccasins showed up, and the water moccasin, the guy was feeding the water moccasins out of his hand with fish that he has caught. The animals, the marine life and shit was cool with him. Ink Dot, people. So he handed to the water moccasin, take the fish out of his hand and scurry off. Then another brown one with white stripes come, take the fish out of his hand and scurry off. And I'm like, man, this is some supernatural frackanacka bullshit here, man. I said, come on, Grandma. And he said, yeah, y'all better get on out of here. Get this. He said, y'all better get on out of here before more of them come. I still got some more fish. They gonna come back. And he say, and then He say, then the sea monster gonna come back and get you. And he making all kind of jokes and shit. Now, that granted, he did admit that was his brother that was one of the Groveland people that was taken. So I guess he had formed a connection with the energy of his brother. However, that shit, well, Grandma proved it. So I helped Grandma up the river, up the little hill bank. We get in the Buick. We drive home. I'm silent as fuck, right? Because I'm like, okay, bitch, I'm not crazy. Jim not crazy. This is real. So fast forward. Fast forward a little bit, people. Now, the news hit 4 missing people out of Fort Christmas, off Dean Road. They found their truck. Now, Ink Dot at the scene, Jimmy at the scene, I'm at the scene, Grandma at the scene. So Grandma goes in there, tell the sheriff what she said. She on record, people. Tell the sheriff what she said. My grandson, they were throwing beer cans at my grandson, and the sea monster got him. The St. John River monster got him. They laughing at Grandma, and they were like, oh, you just an old senile witch, bitch. Get out of here. And they say, hey. I say, yeah, I was out there with Jimbo, and they were throwing beer cans at us. I say, and Jimbo, like, pulled his brandished piece as we got on the bike and drove off. And they like, okay. So they told me to give him Jim's real name, which I gave him the real name that I could remember what he told me. They researched and they say his wife went missing in the same area. And he said a sea creature got him. So now they looking at me and Grandma like, okay, there's some truth to this shit here. So then they kept scratching. They did a research. This is months later, people. They did research, so they found out one of the dudes in the truck that actually off the board, that actually, one of the dudes in the truck was related to one of the sheriffs who offed the 4 black kids in the Groveland. He was related. And the sea monster just claimed his ass. Because they were like, well, the sheriff used to go down there to the thing and hunt, use snakes and everything to hunt for the sea monster. He always believed that a sea monster was there. He used to say it in his older days, but now his grandson, great-grandson, whoever this cat is, I don't know, at the year, they was racist, and then they went down there and the sea monster got them. Same sea monster they say ate the Groveland folk people. Now, all that's been said. Now, Jimbo was like, I'm going fishing with Ink Dot. Okay, nigga, you on your own. You want to come tight? No. Bitch, I just seen a water moccasin eat a fish out of a bitch hand. It got intelligence, and I'm too afraid, so fuck that, no. Cool. So he goes down now. He laughing, he come back all happy. And he come back and he all happy with Annie and all. They just laughing up. He screwing the shit out of her. We hearing the man in the room banging the shit out of this old lady. And he just loved black women. So, so it came time we were eating chili dogs and french fries at night. And I remember it well. Same night, chili dogs and french fries. It started raining real heavy again, people. And the rain smelled like wet dog and cat. I ain't never smelled rain that smelled like a wet dog or a wet cat. So we sitting out there eating, it's raining. The power go out in the area. So he like, I got a generator. So I use the flashlight, go to the, garage, crank up the generator. He plug in the refrigerator and, like one TV. So we all can sit in the room and watch TV until the power come back on, however. So we get a knock at the door heavy in the rain. So we get a knock at the door heavy in the rain. I look out the peephole and I say, there's about 5 people out here. He says, ask them what they want. I say, should I open the door? He say, never open the door. He say, ask them what they want. I say, what you want? And they didn't say nothing, they just knocked on the door again. So I look, but these people wearing t-shirts, man, no jacket, no shit. I say they probably, cold in the rain and they gonna catch a cold. Or he say they can go to the gas station. Don't open my door. I said cool. So now we left the people in the rain, and they were knocking for a reason for a real long time. Jimmy like watching TV. We laughing at some Arsenio Hall, I think, one of them comic stand-up late night shows. So the rain stopped. Power came back on around by like 4 day that morning because I was sleeping on the living room floor with Meek. So get up. So we go to the door, and I'm like, hey, I gotta get to work. Somebody gonna take me home. So Annie's, told her oldest boy again, run him on to the house. I gave Meek like $200, chilling. Run me to the house. As we leave in the yard, people get me right. As I'm backing up and leaving the yard, I look around and I'm seeing wet clothes. I'm seeing wet clothes, man, in the man's yard next to his trash can, but kind of like on the grass, where the sidewalk and the grass is, mailbox. I'm seeing wet t-shirts and blue jeans. I say, interesting. So, we drive on back. So, 2-3 days pass. I go back out there for the weekend. Now, Annie's son, three of her two sons, done brought the wet clothes in the house, and they done washed them out, dried them out, and they like, these bitches fit me well. Y'all keep in mind, people. Jesus Christ, okay. So they done took the clothes they got, washed them, dried them, Now they wearing the bitches. T-shirt, blue jeans. It's 3 of them. Tell me why these kids go to the store, go to the little Circle K and shit in that area. All 3 of Annie kids get arrested, people. And all of them get arrested for robbery and all that other stuff. Knowing them boys ain't gonna rob nobody because we got money. They in a whole new white neighborhood. They gonna treat it like it's cool. But they had put on them clothes that was found in the yard. And they put them clothes on and they went to the Circle K off Dean Road in that area there. And the police accused them of like robbing the store. Back then video cameras wasn't too heavy. So they accused him like, man, we ain't robbed a store, we live right there. They gave the dude name. They went and searched, they did their investigation, they didn't find them, but the boys had to stay in jail for at least 30 days while they conducted that thing. Then they finally, released them to their mama on their own recordings. When they released them, they put them back on the same clothes because that's what they got arrested with. So when they released them, they had on the same clothes. It's no sooner than they left out the bed, they went home, because the clothes, back in the day, they would wash your clothes and then give them back to you. It's no later than they got out, they get up and they go to the store again. Not the same store, but a whole different store. And when they went to the different store, somebody accused them of assaulting somebody, like vandalizing and attacking some dude, and they say, oh, y'all looking like y'all just been arrested, we finna take y'all back in. And by then, Grandmama was on her way to get me, because Grandma said, I need to get you out of that shit. That ain't nothing but some spooky shit over there. So Grandma done float down there. She coming to get me. So me and Grandma stopped at the gas station they was at. We getting gas. I'm gassing out the Buick. So Grandma say, you know them? I say, yeah, them Annie boys. I say, they just got out about less than 24 hours. But look like they done did some stupid shit. I say they didn't like rob the place, and I know they didn't assault the woman. Who gonna assault a bitch right after they get out of jail? So Grandma walked over there and she touched one of the police officers on the hand. And she said, officer, can I talk to you? I'm like, yes, ma'am. Do you know these boys that they assault you too? She said, come here. And she whispered something in that police officer's ear. His face went white. And he paled up and he looked around her shoulder and he looked at me, because I'm pumping gas. And he went over there to his partner. He like, let him go. They ain't do it. So like, let him go. So they took him out of their handcuff. And Grandma said, get in the car, y'all. So when Grandma put him in the car, people, I kid you not, it smelled like wet cats and dogs. The rain was on them clothes. The t-shirt was all stained and dirty. The clothes looked like it was muddy. And Grandma drove him, and she drove him to the St. John River Bridge. And she said, take off your goddamn clothes. And the boys she said, scrap, goddammit, get that shit off you. So here go everybody in the back of the bitch, butt ass naked, because one of them didn't wear drawers. So she said, I don't seen a dick before. Your manhood ain't shit to me. So I took off the clothes, threw the motherfucker over the bridge. She said, throw him over, throw him over. So they threw him over the river, threw him over the bridge and shit. Get in here. So she drove him to the house, dropped him off and everything. And she said, whatever you do, you are not allowed to wear blue jeans and white t-shirt. If you ever put on blue jeans and white t-shirts again, your ass gonna go to the chain gang. That's the last thing Grandma told the boy. People, well, you know, back in the day, that was a style. You get you some nice Stonewatch blue jeans, you get you a nice fitted t-shirt, white shirt and shit. Come 3-pack then, 5-pack now. Get you some nice little K-Swiss shoes, white with the blue trimming on them. You know, you fly some shell top Adidas. You're in there. You're one of us. So they didn't learn. The oldest son, he going out to the club. He done put on white t-shirt, blue jeans, shell top Adidas. He get arrested, picked up. He hit his old lady. He gone to jail 10 years. The next one, he get arrested, put on a little big ass watch. He was real skinny. He get arrested. He in the county for 3 years, people. They were giving him sentences. The last one, the one that had the drinking problems. Here we go. The one that had the drinking problem, and the one that didn't. The one of the sons that didn't like black people. The real racist son. Always talking about a nigga ain't shit, nigga ain't that. Tell me why that man went to jail for 22 years for being with somebody, being with his cousin who damn near gave his girlfriend brain damage. All 3 of them boys went to jail. So I told Grandma, she said, I told them they couldn't wear them clothes. I said they did. Now people, it's a lot more to unpack to this story, but I just gave you a few, and I'm kind of afraid even telling this shit. So I'm gonna put down this bitch. It's a alleged story that I'm telling. It came real. I'm just gonna say all that shit there because I don't need nobody blowing up my DMs and saying I'm making a mockery of this bitch because it wasn't in the papers or how these people was unalived and all the history. I'm telling you what the old people told me and what I witnessed with my own eyes and ears, allegedly. We'll leave that shit like that. So haters, get out of here. But yeah, people, the spirit of them boys was taking racist white folks and killing them. Now, I ain't trying to clout chase, but I'm gonna throw it out there, because this is the news. Something happened off the coast of Canada with a submersible submarine. Do you think this shit is just a reoccurrence or something, people? I'm just saying, you tell me. I'm gonna let y'all sit with that. We'll chop it up in the recap. All right, everybody, I'm